Chapter 9, more about graphs of the functions. In this chapter, we talk about graphs of the functions and start from 9.1 about the features of graphs of the function. Let's have a look. A. Domain and range. Remember these two terms? Yeah, we studied in Form 4 about domain and range. Domain. This one actually related to x. Okay, that means have a look at x-axis. What is the range? Maybe here is okay, -8. This one is 7. Okay, then the domain in between -8 to 7. Right? How about range? Range, this one related to y, the values of y. For example, if here is 10, okay, that means the maximum value is 10 and the minimum value is -5. Then the range in between -5 to 10. Okay, so domain related to x. So you have to look x-axis to see whether have the points which cannot find from the function or not. About the range, you can have a look what is the maximum and the minimum values of y. Okay, now have a look B. Maximum minimum value. Some graphs will have maximum minimum values. Okay, some graphs will not. And here about the quadratic equation, remember? Yeah, this one if is k, okay, then the minimum value equals to k. And remember this one quadratic equation for a greater than 0, right? Opens upward. How about this graph? You got a maximum value, right? Maybe this one as k pi. Then the maximum value equals to k pi. Okay. Remember quadratic equation, a smaller than 0 because this one opens downward, right? Okay. How about the third kind, symmetry? Symmetry. Some of the graphs will have axis of symmetry. For example, this one again quadratic equation, and you see that this one x equals to a as the axis of symmetry of the graph. Okay, so remember x equals to a, this straight line is the axis. Okay, don't just write a, you need to write x equals to a like this. D, periodicity. This one, do you remember when you see this word? Before we talked about trigonometry, graphs of trigonometry function, you've learned this word, periodicity. Have a look. If the graph of the function y equal fx repeats itself for every non-zero period t, the graph of the function has the property of periodicity and fx plus t equals to fx. That means after t period, then repeat the value. For example, you can think it as this one and this one. So the period t, yeah, and the maximum value occurred again. So this function repeats in certain period. Okay? Now, you can have a look at checkpoint 9.1 on page 5 and try to do it by yourself. Later on, we can check it all together.